Welcome back to a new season of the Jacket Football Show on the Jacket Buzz Network here at Alvin High School. It's a great day to be a Jacket. The 2017 football campaign is underway, and we are excited to be covering all things Jacket football again this year. In case you've forgotten or are new to the show, I'm John Barron, and to my left is the one and only Carl Spunky Gurgis. Carl, it's a new season.
I tell you what, all I am is a year older, and we won't get into that.
Okay.
But I tell you what, football is here. We had a great game last Friday night with Fort Bend Austin. Incredible ball game. Jackets did real well, 35-18 final score, and a lot of things that happened in the ball game were kind of unusual, to say the least.
They were, but here we are, a new season, surrounded by some new faces behind the camera, new players on the field. We've got some new T-shirts to wear. We've got a brand new set. How about that?
How about that?
The only thing old on this show are you and I, but mostly you. Mostly you.
Let's get into the game, okay, John?
Well, what do you think? Tell me about the game, Carl.
Well, I tell you, it's one of those things where you win a game 35-18. That's special. Anytime you can start out winning the opening ball game, it's certainly a much better experience than if you lost the darn ball game. I thought the Jackets won convincingly, going away 35-18. They won in an unusual way.
How's that unusual?
Well, your star running back, Jack Lovato, the first time he touches the pigskin, he goes 37 yards and at the same time gets hurt. He's out of the game. So now you've got to put in a reserve running back. Step up James Smith, who's got a career 224 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns that evening, steps right in. At the same time, Kobe Bailey, your starting quarterback, also has a mishap happen to him with his collarbone. He had a pretty good game until he obviously got hurt. Then we had Mark Bujnak stepped in and did a great job for him. You just don't plan on those things happening, but you got to be ready for them.
Well, that's exactly the case. And this is not professional football. It's not even college football. This is high school football. The next person has got to be up and ready to go. And that's what happened here in this game.
I think, too, you got to remember that here you got your star running back going down on the first play from scrimmage. He's practiced with the entire varsity crew, this other 10 players. Also with your quarterback, the same situation. So here you've got 2 young men who have not had reps with that offensive alignment. They go and have career games, the first game. The linemen and the wideouts also adapted to the 2 new running backs, and to the quarterback and to the running back. So everybody kind of adjusted as far as the coaching staff goes. Same thing applied. They had to adjust to 2 different players that they had not had on the varsity, or at least on the first team on the varsity, throughout the previous week.
Well, they adjusted on the fly and early because they needed to. And that's what we're going to do here, and we'll get more into that whenever Coach Wilcox is brought to the show here. This is a fun time of the season. You know, the football weekend typically starts under Friday night lights. It moves on to Saturday college football, and then on to those other guys on Sundays. We're certainly excited to kick off the season, and thanks again to the audio-video class instructor, Hampton Fox, for keeping us on the air again this year. What do you say, Carl?
I think it's great. We've got, like you said, a new set. We've got the new shirts. Man, we're ready. Let's get with it.
Well, like before, we have the privilege of getting some inside information from Coach Robert Wilcox all season long. So when we return, we'll welcome in Coach Robert Wilcox to break down the team and to recap last week's season opener against the Fort Bend Austin Bulldogs.
Texas is known for 2 things: football and barbecue. At Joe's Barbecue in Alvin, we support high school football. Show up in your school colors and you'll automatically get 10% off. Joe's proud to serve certified Angus beef. Joe's Barbecue. It's all about the barbecue.
Call John Barron for all your insurance and financial service needs. He and his professional team have been serving clients in the area since 2002 and are big supporters of your Alvin Yellow Jackets.
Well, welcome in, Coach Wilcox. I know you're excited to be here with us. You've missed us, haven't you?
So very much. You just have no idea, because when I get to see y'all, that means we're talking football.
That's right.
And while I'm at it, man, what good-looking shirts y'all got. That guy must be cool that gave you those, Carl.
Well, you know, it does take 10 years off my life. and how I look. And I thank you very much for that. I'll pass that on to my mother-in-law.
There you go.
Well, football season is back at it for the fans to enjoy and appreciate. But for you, Coach, football season is always in session. Am I right?
Yeah, it really is. You know, we when season ends, we just immediately start our training. There's not really off season because we're immediately in the weight room trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. And then from there we go into spring football. And from spring football, school ends, and we have our speed and conditioning program over the summer, as well as 7-on-7 tournaments. And by that time, it's back for football again.
Man, oh man. Well, you had a nice game last week against Fort Bend Austin. You got the result on the scoreboard, 35-18. You couldn't have scored one more point. Last year you beat them 36-16 or something like that. Yeah. I mean, one more point, Coach. What are some of your thoughts or takeaways from last week's game? And talk a little bit about your team as well.
Well, I thought our kids responded really well to some adversity, and you know that's we teach that, we preach that, and I thought our kids did a good job of that, of overcoming some adversity. I was real pleased with our kicking game. We got a few things in there that I think we'll straighten out, but overall it was really good. I thought Alaric did a great job with kickoffs on all of them, except for one. He had one bad one. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't where we wanted it, but the rest of them were fantastic. And then, you know, the rest of our kicking game was really good. I thought defensively we played great. I had maybe 3-4 breakdowns the whole game. Other than that, they were where they're supposed to be, making plays. And then offensively, like I said, we had some adversity, and our kids figured out a way to overcome it. It was sloppy at times. We had some things that we've got to get straightened out from the standpoint of some penalties and some snaps and things. But, you know, you can't ask for, I mean, I personally can't ask for anything better than what we got last Friday night.
You talk about the adversity. When you start with Lobato and you start with Bailey, one play into the ball game, Lobato is gone. A few plays later in the game, Bailey is gone. Somebody, obviously the offense, you work with the first team throughout the spring, you work with them throughout the fall leading up to the first game. So the kids not only adapted, the coaching staff did a pretty good job of also adapting to the new players that were in there.
Well, I think one of the things you get into is we do a lot of reps with our 2s and 3s. I mean, we really do. We probably spend more time with those kids than most programs do. So I don't, you know, I never feel, I never hesitate when we have to make a change like that. Where the change comes in is one young man can do certain things the other young man can't do, and vice versa. So as a coach, you have to make those adjustments to better suit their talents and what they do best.
Have you had a runner like James Smith that comes into a ball game like this and really just erupts? Has he been a hidden talent that you've had all this time?
Nah, he was Smitty's a really good football player. He's a really fun kid to be around.
Kind of like you, Carl.
Similar to my younger days.
Not quite as old, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But
okay.
James still has a few years.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, probably about as fast as Carl too. But
Gotcha.
now Smitty was he was a kid that was on our sophomore team last year that was a really good group for us, and we knew this year that you know, that Jack would be more of our inside runner and James would be more of our outside guy, and so we really felt like between Smitty and between Jack and Schiller, Jaron Schiller, we really had 3 good backs that we could use, and you know, he did a great job the other night. You know, there was a lot of times where as a coach you're going no because he's running wrong, and then you're saying go because he's gone.
Well, he had 21 touches, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 65-yard scamper that we'll see later in the game. So obviously a great breakout game for the young man.
One last question before we roll the tape here, and how much of this adversity and then adjustment that happened so quickly is due to the maturity level? I look at your roster, and I'm counting 14 juniors and 54 seniors. I mean, that's got to play a role.
Yeah, it does. We have a senior-laden team, and those guys have been in my program for 4 years. When I say mine, I'm talking about since we've been here. And they have a pretty good understanding of what we're trying to do, and I, you know, I mean, honestly, you know, those 2 kids that went down, and we all mentioned it already, you know, those are 2 3-year lettermen. You know, one of them's a 3-year starter. The other one's first year as a quarterback, but he's a really talented athletic receiver. Yeah. So you're talking about 2 kids or 3-year starters. Yeah. Man, we didn't, you know, we missed a beat, just trying to get our feet wet, but then we were right back at it. So I thought we did a great job.
You guys did a great job, and let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
This is opening kickoff, man. I think this sets the tone of the game. Larry gets a great kick, kicks it where we want it to. It's down to the 7-yard line between the numbers and the sidelines. And you're going to see a lot of big hits right there. You know, I could say it was this kid on the tackle or this kid on the tackle, but I'm going to tell you, there were some really big hits on this. You can see Aaron Banks going down and number 17 making a great hit. But then you're going to see a lot of jackets around the football.
Well, it all started with that 53-yard kick that Alaric had. He's got some big shoes to fill in Omar Lopez, who left, and so he did certainly a great job in the first game. Let's move on to the next clip.
This is a little option play, and it's on our first drive of the game. So this is really about the 4th or 5th play of the game. And Kobe runs it well, reads it well. Smitty's where he's supposed to be. We kick it. Great blocks downfield. You can see Noah Powell with great blocks. You see our linemen setting it up. And then, you know, Smitty does a lot of it on his own by breaking back across the field.
That was some run for old Smitty there. So let's move on to our next clip of the game.
Well, the next clip is a read that we put on because of Kobe. He reads real well, and then Kobe is the fastest quarterback I've ever coached. He has really, really good speed, and he makes a read, and then you can see Dalton Meyer and Tanner Dietrich. You know, they do their job, stay in front, let Kobe read their block, touchdown.
That's part of making this. That is what a team game is all about. Several others on the team who are making it happen as well. There you see Dalton Meyer and Tanner Dietrich. Let's move on to the 4th clip that we have here for you.
Well, this was a really big play right here because it was a 4th and short, or a 3rd and short rather, and defensive coaches called a great blitz at the best time to do it, and boy, Austin just went through there. Austin Harvey, you can see, boy, he just goes through there. As they say, the Red Sea parts, and there he is.
Had a little head start, but it didn't hurt, did it?
Yeah. Well, I know this may be a little sensitive, but there's Harvey again causing a ruckus. Let's move on to our next clip of the game.
This is just great pursuit by our D-line. You'll see a quarterback scrambles, D-line takes off, and, you know, of course, I think eventually Carson Gonzalez gets him, but, you know, you got Pedro right there, Pedro Garcia. You got Joey right there chasing them too. So Joey Roberts, excuse me. And so you know, again, that was the whole night right there. Yeah. That guy had to run for his life most of the game.
Along with Garrett Cohen in there. Let's move on to our next defensive clip of the game.
Well, this is something our defensive coaches set up during the week. We kind of knew, based on some formations and tendencies they had, that we were going to have an automatic blitz with our corner. And you can see Marquise plays it perfect, comes off, and just does a great job right here.
Marquise had a good season last season, and this year as a junior, looks like he's starting off with the same.
Third-year starter, right?
He's a second-year starter. Next year he'll be a third-year starter.
Okay, my fault.
Let's move on to our next play.
Well, this is another defensive play, and again, it's Marquise coming off the edge, causing a fumble, and then there you have, I believe, Pedro. Pedro gets the fumble recovery, but again, if you look, there's not much room for that guy to go anywhere. You see a lot of white jerseys around him.
That's a great pursuit, and Pedro let the air out of the ball when he landed on it, so it wasn't going to go anywhere. All right, let's move on to our next clip of the game.
Well, this is Kobe throwing a touchdown, and the interesting thing about this is Kobe had just hurt his shoulder the play before, stayed in the game, and then throws basically a 42-yard touchdown pass. And Schiller made a great move on their corner, caused the corner to actually fall down, and then he's wide open. And man, it just, when you draw up plays, you draw them up like that. You always hope that your offensive line can give that kind of protection to your quarterback, because he really does have all day to stand back there and throw right.
But you had good protection most of the game.
We did.
In your offensive line.
We did. Those guys are really going to be good. A lot of them are young, they are going to be really, really good before the season's over.
Yep, the skilled players made it happen there, but certainly cannot forget about the good pass protection that always happens here. So and I say always, but let's say on that particular play. Let's move on to our next clip of the game.
Well, this is Smitty again. You can see we're running just your basic isolation play. The linebacker plays too far over the top, and as we say, Smitty takes it out the back door. And just has great vision to what's going on. Again, there's a huge hole there.
He had good moves at the line of scrimmage, too. He was up the middle, then he quickly moved to the right, then again jumped to the right.
Is that the way you used to move?
Yeah, years ago, I have film of that. It's black and white, but I promise you.
And it's 16 millimeter, right?
It's something like that, yeah.
And at this point in the game, you have your quarterback, number 18, Mark Bushnock, in.
Yeah, Mark is in right now, and again, just running the offense. Obviously, we pare it down a little bit, but again, it's all caused by those guys up front, and then he's gone.
You got it. Well, let's move on to our next one.
Well, this is Smitty again, but the thing you got to look at on here, again, Tanner Dietrich does a great job. Jaron Schiller does a great job. And I'll tell you another one right there is Noah Powell. You can see Noah get down in front, does a really good job of getting in front of people and creating an angle. That was one thing you got to talk about. We always talk about the O-line and what job they do blocking. Coach Jeans and Coach Munson spend a lot of time with our receivers blocking. And usually when you see a big run, usually means a receiver just did a really good job blocking. And those guys, they believe in it and they took it to heart. And there you go. There's Smitty again.
And the thing about Noah, he didn't necessarily get the block. He got out in front.
He got in his way.
And he didn't clip.
That's it. He got in his way, got his, as we say, got his flipper on him, and then we're gone.
Several nice blocks upfield. Let's move on to our final clip of the game.
Well, the final one, last year we're playing in the same location, and Stillwell actually intercepted one and took it 98 yards, but we lined up offsides. So we were really excited that he got to get that interception this year. He didn't get to take it 98 yards, but he still got the interception. He's playing it perfect, drops to the flats. That's the first time Blake's been back as an inside linebacker since he was a sophomore. So he was a little rusty on things, but I think he'll get better as the season progresses because he's a really good linebacker, a good athlete. He's in the right place at the right time there.
Well, he didn't find pay dirt on that one, but he did take it for about 20 yards or so. Well, that concludes our plays of the game. Coach, as always, we thank you for your insight on these plays, but is there anything certainly that we didn't see on film that stood out to you and that you'd like to cover?
The biggest thing is that this group of guys, they really like to play football. I mean, and that's the best way I can say it. We challenged them a couple of weeks ago to have better practices. Well, man, they had a great practice. They pretty much they're easy to coach. And that always makes your job fun. So I'm looking forward to just a fantastic year with them.
Well, it's time to go pay the bills. So at this point in time, let's turn to our play of the game.
Your Joe's Barbecue play of the game in the 35-18 win over Fort Bend, Austin, James Smith with a 65-yard touchdown run.
Texas is known for two things: football and barbecue. At Joe's Barbecue in Alvin, we support high school football. Show up in your school colors and you'll automatically get 10% off. Joe's proud to serve certified Angus beef. Joe's Barbecue. It's all about the barbecue.
Call John Barrett for all your insurance and financial service needs. He and his professional team have been serving clients in the area since 2002 and are big supporters of your Alvin Yellow Jackets.
Well, Coach, now that we've got the Austin Bulldogs behind us, we got to move on to a new week, and it's a new opponent. And tomorrow he's got you opening up your home opener against the Clements Rangers. They're no stranger to Alvin. You beat them last year, I think 45-28. The year before, 45-7. So how do you see tomorrow night's game unfolding?
Well, we were supposed to play them, obviously, I guess 2 weeks ago, and then because of the hurricane and the delays to the season, we were able to bump the game to what would be normally our open week. I mean, we're just excited to get a chance to play, because at one time, we thought, well, we're going to have a game and then an open week, and then we start, and so getting a chance to play is just so important to us this week. We've played Clements before. They're really well coached. Coach Darnell, the head coach over there, is a really, really good football coach. We just, we think we match up pretty good with them. So we feel good about the way our kids will go out and perform.
How about, I know Lobato and Bailey, of course, went down. Everybody else make it through the game without any real problems?
Well, we've been beat up this year pretty good. Last week we played without 2 O-linemen. We got one of them back, but then we had 2 more go down. So we're kind of piecing together the O-line right now, but nothing's serious, and it's, I think someone asked me earlier about Kobe and Jack, and I said, well, they'll be back. We're not sure what week it'll be right now, but they're both injuries that they will be back from. So right now we've been it's been kind of nitpicky injuries that last a week or 2 weeks, and then we get kids back. So I mean, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. You talked about our seniors, and we have a lot of depth right now. We have a lot of kids, and so pretty much if someone does go down, we've got people that can fill in.
Well, with James and Mark stepping up as they did, it's an opportunity for them. They did quite well in the game that they had second time around for them. I think it's a good opportunity that they're going to be able to do it for the home folks here.
Well, we talk about one of the things we always emphasize with our kids is when someone graduates or someone quits or someone goes down, yes, it's bad for that person, but we always say it's opportunity for someone else. This is your chance to show us why you need to be in there. And so, I mean, again, we feel really confident that our kids are gonna do what they're supposed to do. Like I said, I'm real pleased with our defense. I'm real pleased with our defensive effort. And as long as we play good defense, our offense will figure out a way to get some points on the board.
I think you've got a little bit more speed this year than you have in the past too. Is that accurate or not?
At certain positions. At certain positions we do. We're missing a Madrano, that big, tall, physical receiver out there. But at the same time, we've got some other kids who have other talents that we can utilize. And the quarterback position, like I said, Kobe is just one of the most fantastic readers and ability to run the offense that we've had. He's down, but we've got Mark up, and then we have Ian Tribble also up, and those guys will both get reps Friday night. And again, at running back, Smitty's in there, but we've got 2 or 3 others that we're going to roll in too. So it's not a one-man thing, and same thing on defense. I think we played like 8 kids on the defensive line last week because we have a lot of depth.
Well, like you said, it's opportunities, and the opportunities were there, and they took advantage of it.
That's what it's all about. We got to play better this week than we did last week, and then the following week play better. And so, that's the way the season should go.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to another great game tomorrow. We certainly appreciate you being here as always, Coach. So tune in next week as we recap the game against the Clements Rangers and as we preview the next game against the Clear Lake Falcons. For Carl Gurgis, I'm John Barron. It's a great day to be a Jacket.